again. I'm Michelle Winterfeld, Procurement Manager for the Public Works Procurement Team at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. And it wasn't 1 year ago, we went live on March 26th. We remember it well, so happy to be here and help you get a better view into the system before you all go live. I'll turn it over to Ashley.
Hey everybody, I'm Ashley Sangster. I'm the Procurement Manager for Goods and Services here at Cal Poly. Again, happy to support. I knew the unknowns we were facing prior to our go live, and having some feedback and even some demos into the system, I think will provide some really great insight for you guys. June?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is June Butterfield, and I am the Assistant Project Manager in the Operational Business Support Department. And I have been supporting this project since we went live 1 year ago, almost today. And myself and Michelle Winterfeld will be conducting today's introduction and overview. So thank you to everyone joining today's introduction to CSUBUY. We're going to walk through the CSUBUY P2P system. As many of you may know, CSUBUY is a collaborative procurement platform designed to streamline purchases, approvals, and payments across all CSU campuses. Today, we're going to provide an overview and demonstration for those of you that have yet to go live. Our goal here is to help you understand the system's capabilities and ensure a smooth transition when it's your turn to adopt the CSUBUY P2P system. As many of you know, to optimize our time and to ensure that we cover all key functionalities, we kindly ask you to hold off any questions. This will allow us to move more efficiently through each demonstration while ensuring that all topics are covered thoroughly. So this demonstration today is going to provide an overview of key functionalities within the P2P system, helping you navigate procurement processes efficiently. Below is our agenda outlining the different demonstrations I'll be covering today. So we're going to begin with a high-level introduction to CSUBUY, covering navigation, notification, and user profile settings. This will help you get familiar with the system layout and functionalities. Next, we'll explore the shopping experience in CSUBUY, including how to use form requests and punch-out catalogs. This will allow you to find and order the products and services you need. In demonstration 3, we're going to take a deeper dive into the shopping functions, covering how to manage carts, view procurement requests, and track approvals in the system. Then we'll walk through the ServiceNow Help ticketing system, where we are going to discuss how to submit requests, track tickets, and understand the process from both the requester and the fulfiller's perspective. And then lastly, we're going to go over the supplier search functionalities and all the different supplier forms, whether you're going to request, re-invite, or extend a supplier to your campus. So now I'm going to go ahead and head into our live CSUBUY P2P production environment. Okay, great. So once you enter the CSUBUY P2P system, what you're going to see is your shopping homepage. This is going to be the default landing page anytime that you open up the P2P system. On your shopping homepage, right below it is the organization message. Now, this organization message can be personalized based on your campus. If there are any kind of software updates or announcements from the Chancellor's office, they'll put it on the very top, such as we have an outage this weekend for an upgrade. Below that can all be personalized based on your campus. For Cal Poly, I was able to embed some hyperlinks to go to our resource page, our one-on-one bookings. Here is a video on how to set your defaults to help with Dell purchases, and even a supplier support webpage, so you can customize this organization message to your campus. Now, up on the top, we can see that we have a search bar. To the left, you have the ability from the drop-down menu to search based on a specific section or just all. I like all because I can put in a PO number, a voucher number, a supplier name, a client name, and it will populate based on what you enter. Navigating to the right, we can see this is your active shopping cart. If you have an active shopping cart, your cost total will appear right here, and you can quickly navigate to it. Then the heart icon are your bookmarks. The flag icon is what's called your action items. So if you have any actions to take, such as a requisition to approve, it will appear under your action items. The next is the bell icon. That's your notifications. If you have set up notifications under your profile and want them to go to your notification settings in your system, they will appear here. What's great is the notifications are grouped based on the sections. So I have notifications set up for form requests, shopping carts, so if my cart has been approved or my requisition. I have notifications set up for accounts payable, such as when the voucher has completed its workflow steps, and so forth. As you move to the far right, you'll notice there's a black silhouette, and that is your user profile icon. We're going to go ahead and navigate to view our profile. This is where you're going to find your role, the ability to set up your notifications, as well as to set up defaults. So let's explore. Once I select View My Profile, you're going to scroll over to the left. And you can see the first one, the User Profile and Preference. This is all defaulted and you can't change. The important aspects that I train on initially when going live is how to set up your defaults. So under default addresses, it's important to set up based on certain suppliers requiring to have defaults, such as Dell. There are simple steps to go ahead and set up your defaults with Ship2 by selecting your addresses, and same for Bill to. Another important area in your profile is you can view your user role and access. Under your assign roles, you can see and make sure that you have been set up with the correct role. Possibly you've been set up with shopper, but you need requester to submit requisitions. You can view here if you have the shopper or requester role. Below that, you'll notice the notification preferences. These are all the different categories that we saw under my bell icon notifications. Most notifications are pre-selected and defaulted for you based on your user role when you're established in the system. However, it's important to go through each category to make sure that in the beginning, you are notified and ensured up to date that if there's anything that you need to do or take action on, you can. In the edit section, you have the ability for any of the notifications to be routed as none, meaning you want the notification turned off, email to go to your campus email, notification, which goes to the bell icon, or email a notification. Typically in the beginning, I always steer on the side of doing more, such as email notifications to keep you up to date. Once you're more proficient in the system, you can always modify your notifications to just emails or notifications within the system. And then going down, you can see you have the ability to see your permission settings and what you have the ability to do based on your user role. Let's navigate back to the shopping homepage. On the shopping homepage, we reviewed this top bar as well as the organization message. To the right are your quick links. This is going to quickly navigate you to any of these sections, such as viewing your cards, viewing your requisitions, requesting a new supplier in the system, or entering a ticket through the ServiceNow ticketing portal, which we'll go over later. As we scroll down, this is what's called your approvals folder. So it's a quick look into anything that you may have to approve. If you are an approver or DOA approver, and it's routed based on a Adept ID utilized or a form, they will populate here. What's great is it's going to show what the actual requisition number is, hyperlink to it. It'll show you how many days it's been in the folder, meaning how many days it's been pending for someone to approve it. To the right of your approvals folder, you have your order search. Just like your quick links up here, this is going to quickly take you to any of these sections, such as my requisitions, my vouchers, or going to my approvals. Continuing scrolling down on the shopping homepage, we're going to enter in to the showcases. On the top of the showcases are going to be your CSU form requests. Now these forms are utilized for suppliers that are not punch out or catalog suppliers. And what's great is each of these forms describes on their landing homepage or their landing page the instructions. what the form should be used for, and what the form should not be used for. So as we navigate into the goods and services request, it's going to populate the instructions page. It explains to you what examples would be utilized for this form. This is a very broad form, allowing you to put in goods other, services other, furniture, vehicles. What's great is if you pause and make sure that your clients read this instructions page, they can see what this form should not be used for, such as IT hardware or software, and it steers them to utilize the correct form, such as the IT hardware or software request form. It's always going to have this red note on the bottom, making sure that you're knowledgeable that a supplier must be approved, synced, and active in the system for you to select them and request services or goods through them. As we go back to the shopping homepage, you can scroll down and we can see that there are multiple form requests. Sometimes that caret gets hit and collapses the CS form request, and clients may say, "Where are my forms?" Make sure to have that caret expanded so that you can see all forms available. This happens sometimes with this supplier request area, making sure that it's expanded and you're able to view all forms available. As we scroll down from the shopping showcases, we can see that we have our punch-out suppliers. Most of these punch-out suppliers are also listed on the e-marketplace. They are nice and grouped into sections such as facilities, laboratory, IT, and general. All of these punch-out suppliers are going to take you outside of the P2P system into their catalog environment. From there, they have already pre-selected their commodity codes and pricing. They would go ahead and select the items they wish to order and then punch back into the P2P system, which will automatically create the cart ready for it to be submitted into workflow. Let's go ahead and view to the left. These are what's called your flyouts. As you can see, when you hover over a certain area, such as orders, it's going to fly out and give you more availability to select how you want to search within the orders. You have the ability down at the bottom to collapse your flyouts if you are knowledgeable about what the icons mean, or you can have it expanded. You also have a menu search at the very bottom. So you can search right here. You can search up here as well. There's multiple areas where you can search within the system. Let's go ahead and view this navigation bar on the left. So we can see the top home one's always going to bring us back to this default shopping homepage. The icon below is the shopping cart icon. This is where you're going to be able to go straight to your shopping homepage, do a more advanced search if you need, or you can browse by any of these categories. Typically in the shop area, you're going to want to view My Carts and Orders. My Carts and Orders, you're going to be able to see your active shopping carts, which I have one right here. We can see because it has a cost amount in there. And then let's go ahead. And then you're able to view my active shopping carts, view all carts, or you can view all your orders within the last 90 days. As you scroll down, you can see the orders flyouts. What's great about the CSUBUY system, it allows for extended transparency. So everyone can view everyone's requisitions within the system per campus. So any of our clients at Cal Poly can view all requisitions that have been entered, all POs, and so forth. If you just want to look at your orders, you would go to My Orders and slide over to the right to view your requisitions, vouchers, and procurement request. This orders section also has an area called approvals. Now, if you're an approver or DOA approver, you would have this ability. This is where you can quickly navigate to requisitions you may need to approve, where you've recently approved them. And this is also the section where you can assign a substitution while you're out on leave. We'll go over that in further demonstrations throughout the week. As we move along down our flyouts, we can see contracts. At this time, we are not utilizing that flyout. But accounts payable, this is where you're going to be able to search for vouchers. You have the AP home here as well. And this is where clients can view receipts, whether they have draft receipts or they need to create a receipt. Approvals under the accounts payable section means vouchers to approve. So clients will have this approval area compared to DOA approvers and regular approvers will find their approvers under orders. Now, under the accounts payable approvals, you'll see there's vouchers to approve. That means the client is approving the voucher for the service rendered, stating to the system itself and the accounts payable team, I have received these services and approved payment on this voucher. It goes into viewing vouchers recently approved by you, as well as clients have the opportunity to set up approvers based on their vouchers. So if a client is going to be out on leave, they can make sure that there is no delay in payment processing for the supplier by ensuring that their substitutions are set up prior to their leave. As we scroll down, we have the suppliers flyout. On your suppliers flyout, you could search for a supplier here. You have the approvals areas where you can find your supplier request to approve or assign a substitute approvers. Now, this is based on the master supplier campus role. However, clients and most users have this area called requests. This is where you can request a new supplier in the system, search for a supplier request, or view your supplier requests that you have entered. Below the suppliers flyout, you'll see that there's sourcing. At this time, Cal Poly does not utilize sourcing, and reporting will be a new functionality available in the system in the near future. And then as you go down, if you have more of the administration role or campus admin role, that's where these flyouts will become useful and helpful. So I'm just going to pause here for a second. And let's go ahead and go into shopping. We're going to go over the shopping flyout right here and view my carts. Let's go ahead and view our carts here. Under the cart management section, you can see on the tabs, you have the availability of doing draft carts or assigned carts. Now your draft carts, you can see that I have multiple carts here. This is all for testing and training purposes. However, if you do have an active cart, such as right up here, you can identify that. It will have a blue area saying active buy it. You have the ability at any time to modify or your active cart. So say you actually want this cart right here to be active instead, you can activate it, you can view the cart, or you can delete the cart. So to manage your carts, you want to go to the shop icon, my carts, and view carts. Another area that's great is my assigned carts. So say you are a requester and a shopper has assigned a cart to you that you have to submit into workflow. This is where you would view that assigned cart. You also will get an email stating that you have a cart assigned to you. If you are the individual assigning the cart to someone else, it will also live right here. So let's go ahead and work through an example. I'm going to take this shopping cart right here and view my cart. On the top right, I'm going to actually, instead of proceed to checkout, I'm going to assign this cart to a different user for them to submit it into workflow. Anything blue in the system is going to be hyperlinked. So I'm going to select search right here to assign the cart to someone. I always think that less is more on the user search. I always either put in the last name or just the first name and then select search. I'm going to assign this cart to Ashley. I'm going to select the plus sign, and then you can see that Ashley's name appeared on the top. I'm going to select assign. From there, we can see that the cart was successfully assigned since there has been this green succession banner. What you could do now is let's go ahead and view our carts. In our cart areas, let's go ahead and see the assigned carts. We can see the shopping cart name, the date it was created. It was created by and assigned to Ashley. If you accidentally assigned a cart to the wrong individual, or you can submit it yourself, you have the ability to unassign the cart. So let's go ahead and navigate back to our shopping homepage. So we went over cart management. where you can view your carts, activate a cart, be able to recognize and identify if you have an active cart. We also went over assigning a cart and where to view assigned carts and how to unassign carts. Now let's move on to the orders section where we're going to review procurement requests. Now under my orders and my procurement requests are what I call abandoned forms. So you may have started on a form, but never got to the cart level or to the requisition level itself. What's great about the system, it captures all that information and all the work that you've done on the form, and then keeps it for you to go ahead and navigate back to submit it into workflow. So this one right here was a goods and services request. I was starting on the process of submitting this requisition. However, I did not have all of the information necessary, maybe such as the cost details, for a couple more days. I got to that point and I was able to then go ahead and either exit out of the system or go to a different task. And I can locate that abandoned form or that unfinished form under my procurement request and then navigate to it and then complete whatever work is remaining on the form and submit it to a cart and then to a requisition to be submitted into workflow. Under your procurement requests are also where you're going to find your requests for such as supplier re-invitations or extensions, since that is one of the forms located under the showcases. Let's go ahead and navigate back to the orders flyout, and let's view the difference between the searching capabilities. The robust search capabilities of the CSUBUY system allows under all orders to see all requisitions that have been created by Cal Poly clients. So you're able to view anybody's actual requisitions, POs, or vouchers. This is a great learning opportunity and also a seamless way to reorder items. So you can view someone's requisition that they may have entered on a similar item that you're requesting and see how they were able to enter it if you had any questions. You also have the ability to copy it to a new cart. So you can take someone's requisition, view it, and have the ability to copy it to a new cart. When you copy to a new cart, it removes any of the attachments and the chart field strings, which personalizes that requisition and allows you to take that new cart and personalize it for your order. So it can save time and allow you to reorder items in a seamless fashion. Let's go ahead and view that. I'm going to go ahead and view this requisition right here. So I'm not Victoria, but Victoria is the one that entered this requisition on behalf of Troy. And what's great is that you have the ability to copy it to a new cart. When you copy to a new cart, it's going to carry everything over except those attachments and the chart field strings. So you can see that it was a seamless reordering for me, and then I can personalize it for my order by adding attachments and adding the appropriate chart field string needed to submit it into workflow. You can also see that I already had an active cart available and combine this cart with that active cart. You would want to make sure that your shopping cart area up here has a zero balance and that there's no active carts when copying a new cart over, or you can remove those lines from the shopping cart as well. So just something to be aware of. But the great thing about CSUBUY is that visibility into everyone's requisitions, POs, and vouchers, the learning opportunities, as well as the seamless ability to reorder, allowing the system to work for us. Okay, so let's go ahead and view now the shopping homepage. And let's dive a little bit deeper into the showcases. So I'd like to use Amazon for an example. As you can see, it's going to state connecting to the punch out supplier, and it's going to punch you out into Amazon's catalog. So you can see now, it's going to say on the top left, the Amazon punch out. You can see right now, you're not in the CSUBUY P2P system. From here, I already have something in my shopping cart. So I'm going to seamlessly just go ahead and reorder this and proceed to check out. From here, I have some things that have already been defaulted. The thing that I like to tell our clients is that any of the information right here, if it's not accurate on the shipping details, what Amazon takes is from the P2P system punch out itself. So your ship to and bill to address is actually on the requisition you enter into workflow is what Amazon is going to utilize for routing packages. Another thing to be aware of is sometimes Amazon states that this order requires approvals, and clients may wonder why. Submit the order for approval means that it's going to submit it and punch it back into the P2P system and do the workflow step approval, such as DOA and procurement review approval. And that's what's classified as submit order for approval. So let's go ahead and submit the order for approval. We can see now the system is punching back into the CSUBUY P2P system. And we can see right here, we have that Amazon one. Once again, I had an active cart up here. So it combined the one that I copied over as well as the one that I had already established. So making sure that you have a clear active cart will help prevent any double ordering. But that is how you would utilize Amazon as a punch-out supplier, seamlessly find the items you need, and then punch back into the P2P system that automatically creates the cart for you and allows you to proceed to checkout. I'm going to go ahead and clear out our cart now. You can do that by selecting the trash cans on the top right here that I'm doing, or you have the ability to go to your shopping carts, My Carts, and you can view your carts. And what you can do is from the drop-down, you can view it or delete it. So now that I have an empty cart up here, I am set to order from one of our showcases for form requests. Once again, our forms that we have are goods and services requests, direct pay request, IT hardware, IT software, independent contractor, hospitality non-travel, payment for unauthorized purchases. You also have the ability to request to close a PO. So say you have a client that has an open PO or amount-only PO, and they're ready to close out that PO to unencumber the funds, they can submit a form called Request to Close the PO, which will notify their buyer that they need to go ahead and close out the open or amount-only PO. And then we have a special form for facilities. The direct pay request form and the payment for unauthorized purchases form are a couple of the unique forms that we have available where you would actually go and directly pay the supplier, or if a goods and services have been provided without submitting a form request, you can utilize this form. Let's just walk through the steps of the goods and services form. Like I mentioned before, it's always going to land on this instructions page, no matter which of the CS form requests you select. They're always going to state what the form should be used for and what it should not be used for, and then help guide you to the appropriate form for usage. As we move along, we would want to make sure to select the appropriate supplier. So you can enter the supplier name right here on the top. I do not put in a zip code because the zip code is based on the supplier themselves and not your campus. So I wouldn't want to put in Cal Poly or San Luis Obispo zip code because then the supplier themselves would not show. So I just put in the supplier and then select search. If there's only one supplier available and it matches, it will pre-select the supplier for you with this green check mark. You can see that this supplier actually has entity suppliers, so meaning that they share the same tin, but they are separated from the supplier themselves, meaning that they may have a different remittance and fulfillment address. You can toggle between which supplier you would want by selecting the select button. The supplier that you will select will have the green check mark next to it, as well as it will populate on the top. Once you have selected your appropriate supplier, you can select next. From the drop down here, this is where it's going to help dictate the actual workflow steps on the requisition. So first is picking the form. That's going to dictate what kind of approvers are going to be in the workflow. And the second is answering the questions within the form and may increase the amount of approvers on the workflow requisition. For this one, I'm going to select, let's go ahead and select furniture. On the goods and services form, there is always a question if it's a blanket order. This is going to route to the amount only question. Is this an amount only PO? Any questions with an asterisk are the required questions to be completed. Anything without is not required. However, if you do know the answer, you can go ahead and answer it. I'm going to quickly just navigate through these questions just so that we can see how a form turns into a cart, just like how we saw a punch out turns into a cart. Once you've completed all of the questions over here, what's great is you'll get a green check mark, that meaning that you have answered all of the required questions in that section. I'm going to go ahead and just enter in the cost details quickly. Also on your forms, it pre-selects the tax for you. You do have the opportunity to modify it. And on the goods and services, since I selected furniture, it automatically selects the commodity code for furniture. I'm going to select next here. Great, we have all green check marks, meaning that we completed it successfully, and you now have the ability to add it to a cart. So we completed the form, and now we're in the shopping cart. So just like the punch out, we selected our items in the punch out. However, we didn't need to put cost details or really answer any questions in that because everything is already predetermined by the punch out or catalog supplier. On your cart area, you have the ability to update the name of your cart right up here. And you can also modify your commodity code and taxable section. The next section after a form to a cart goes the requisition. On the requisition itself, if you had any outstanding items that you had to clarify, whether you need to put in your chart field string or update any of your addresses, it will be listed under the summary section. If everything is completed, you would have the ability to select submit request. I have a lot of my defaults selected, meaning that I can seamlessly order and submit request without having to put in my shipping or billing address, as well as my chart field string. So you can see on the requisition, it's much more expanded compared to a cart. It's going to have the chart field area to fill in. It also is going to list out participant information, such as adding an ad hoc approver. This is a section where you have the ability to add attachments. You can add attachments on the header or in the body of the requisition itself. As we navigate to the right, what's great about CSUBUY is that it lists out the actual potential approvers that you may have. The DOA approver is routing based on the DEPT ID. And this DEPT ID, it's identified that either David or Dee can approve it. Both have been sent the requisition to approve. However, only one needs to approve. Now, for every workflow step, you can simply click on it and see who your potential approvers are. Once they have assigned the requisition to themselves and approved it, their name will be listed underneath the workflow step. So it allows you to communicate using comments to your potential approvers to let them know and keep up to date on any important information regarding the requisition itself. So let's go ahead and navigate back to the home section. Now we're going to switch gears to our demonstration number 4, going over the ServiceNow help ticket. So I'm going to allow Michelle to go ahead and view the client perspective of submitting a ticket, and I'm going to show the fulfiller's role on the ServiceNow ticketing, just a very high-level overview. So I'm going to stop sharing now, Michelle, to have you share.
Great. All right, so as we looked at before, the ServiceNow ticketing is over here on the quick links for everyone. So when you're approaching the potential need for a ServiceNow ticket, that means either your campus client has an issue and they need some help with it, or we as the procurement, payment teams and administrators, we have an issue as well. So we can do either, it can come from either source. Let's just say that. We all have the ability to enter a ServiceNow ticket. So I'm going to show you what it looks like when you are either a client or a member of the procurement and payment team needing to enter their own ticket as well. So you click on that. and you're going to find this CSUBUY support page. It's going to give you kind of a quick just iframe of your open tickets. And then if you wanted to find all of the tickets that you have so far in the ServiceNow, you would use this logo. And you can see that I have my open tickets and my closed tickets there. And I'm just going to go back because my main goal at this point is I'm a campus client or I'm a procurement or payment person who needs to submit a ticket. And this is something's going awry. I'm having an issue, something's stuck somewhere. The supplier needs some help. There's a lot of things that, could go wrong. And one of the things, is does this need to go past your campus for assistance? A lot of us don't have just a master phone number or master email that everybody can call. So this kind of gets the ticket in a system where it can be tracked and managed by both your campus as well as the other folks, the ServiceNow team, the chancellor's office. If it's a integration issue with PeopleSoft, this is where we put those types of issues as well. So it covers a great multitude of potential issues. So one of the things that your campus clients or we will figure out is what is the area that is providing the issue. So let's say I don't have the right role. This might be the category that I choose is I have a shopper role and I should have a requester role. I want help with that. I have a voucher that is currently stuck with somebody who's out of the office. What do I do? That would be that one. Chart fields, I'm getting an error. I can't add my chart field string that I want to add in my requisition. The contracts, again, we're not using that module in here. It's through the eMarketplace at the moment. Purchase order, let's just say, somebody is finding a non-sync issue on a purchase order or something. That might be the one you want to select there. Requisition, if you're working on a requisition without it having yet been turned to a purchase order, you might want to select that one. There's also shopping carts because we do have the showcases, and essentially if you start with a showcase punch out catalog or a form request, you're essentially creating a cart. The sourcing module, same as the contracts one, it's not active just yet, but the supplier is basically a supplier issue. And this, if you select it, currently goes straight to the Chancellor's Office supplier team. So just know that if you're recommending your client enter something related to a supplier, but maybe it doesn't need to go to them yet, you might want to just have them select requisition or something else that will kind of keep it at your campus level for first review. There's also a P-card marketplace in case that happens to be your area of needing. So I'm going to put requisition on this sample, and then you can put your description of what's the issue. And then you can put a little description. You can even add an attachment. So that's kind of fun. And then you submit. I mean, it's really not super hard at all. And then once you submit, you're going to see that you have a ticket created. It's going to assign this P2P number and auto-generate a number for you. And then now you can be back home and you can see that I have an extra ticket. You're also going to be presented, or your clients will be presented with an email confirmation. So I just pinned these at the top so you can kind of see the life cycle of a ticket. Here's the email I got when I opened the ticket. Here's when somebody responded back. Here's where it was resolved, and here's where it was closed. And then here's my new one. It just came over. So that is, in short, how people ask for help with issues if they come across them. And so I'm going to pass it back to June to show you what it looks like when the campus or the other folks fulfilling tickets get those tickets.
Great, Michelle. Thanks for all that detail. So I have the campus admin role and the ServiceNow ticketing role. So it depends on the tiers. So at the campus level, we have our tier 1. So that's myself and Michelle and Ashley and Darren to try and resolve any of the questions or concerns the client has. So we take our first look at it. Can we resolve it? Are we able to assist them? And then we can either assist them and provide guidance through the ServiceNow ticketing and add attachments, or what we can do is escalate it to what's called tier 2. And tier 2 is at the chancellor's office. And then there's also tier 3. So tier 3 is the CMS team at the chancellor's office. This is just the homepage for the ServiceNow ticketing fulfiller view. You can see I have assigned tickets, my group tickets, and my campus escalated tickets. These are all of my open escalated tickets, either to tier 2 or tier 3 at this time. My assigned tickets are these tickets signed back from the chancellor's office itself, especially for CMS when I enter in project codes to be implemented in the system. Now, the ticket that Michelle just entered is going to be under my group's unassigned tickets. So I'm going to navigate there. And it's right here on the top. I can see under the short description, the statement that Michelle put in, the assignment group, and tier 1. So that's us, tier 1. I'd also have the ability for the priority. And I'll show you how yourself as a fulfiller can change the priority. Clients submitting tickets do not have the option to go ahead and navigate or modify their priority level. Simply, you can navigate by utilizing under the numbers column to go straight to the ticket itself. You can also put the ticket up in the search option. So let's view this ticket. So right here, we can see here's the ticket number, the priority. You have the option of going in here and modifying the priority level. The critical is very critical. I've only entered maybe 1 or 2 at the critical level. If it's something that really needs to be resolved that day, that high level is acceptable. So really, once you get into the ServiceNow ticketing training, they'll go over further aspects of the priority. It's going to have an open state at the time being. If you can resolve it, you have the ability to go ahead and select resolve. If you're just providing guidance and you're waiting for the end user to respond back to you, you can select work in progress. These other options are once it gets to the tier 2 or tier 3 level where it's pending integration partners, user response, or so forth. So say that you submitted the request back to the client that submitted the ticket and said, I've updated your role. Please check and verify that your role has been updated. You can state pending user response so that you can categorize those tickets under my unassigned tickets to know where they're at, especially if you have multiple people in this ServiceNow ticketing portal. And then you have the ability to select resolved and then closed. And they do close after 30 days. From here, the one thing that will not be selected that must be selected is a subcategory. You can see it has an asterisk by it. On the client's view that Michelle was showing you in the CSUBUY P2P system, the client does not have the ability to select the subcategory. So you as a fulfiller would then have to select it. You also have the ability to add on the watch list. So say that you want another individual. So this ticket was entered by Michelle, but I want Ashley to view my response as well, or to get Ashley's input as well. You can add anybody to the watch list and they will receive emails based on the responses. From here, the short description she put in there, test description is also entered. Now, if you're able to resolve it, you can type in your comments box how to resolve it. And guidance. And then you have the ability to go ahead and add attachments. So say you want to attach a screenshot or provide any guidance, you can attach the attachment right here. Say that you're unable to resolve the ticket. What you would want to do then is escalate it to tier 2 to the chancellor's office. When you escalate it to tier 2, it will ask you, what do you want them to look at? So you might say, I'm unable to resolve this client's question, or I do not have the permissioning to assign roles. So whatever you need the chancellor's office to do, you would then type it in there and escalate that. Once escalated, you'll be able to locate those under your escalated tickets. And those tickets will look like this. So you can see here, this is a ticket I entered into here and I escalated into tier 2. And on the bottom here, you can see the activity. So the Chancellor's Office, it will come in an email and also be on your ServiceNow ticketing portal. So you can see that I'm able to see the work notes as well as the communication that the Chancellor's Office has had with myself. And then from here, we can see that it's still pending the supplier response. Going back here, you can see right up here, they're categorized by the numbers, date created, assigned to, assignment groups, because we do have a supplier group to assign to. So going back to this first ticket right up here, under the CSUBUY support, you have the option to do supplier support. So say it's supplier related, that you're having an issue with the supplier, or you need to change a remit address or anything like that, you would select the supplier from the assignment group. So when you're initially creating a ticket, you'd put your name in under requester and then also the assignment group. So let's look at the ticket that Michelle created and go right here. So her assignment group, CSUBUY support, say it needs to go to supplier, you have the option to then go ahead and remove that and then select supplier support if necessary. And then you can escalate to tier 2, and then it'll be directed straight to supplier without kind of pending at that first tier 2 at the Chancellor's Office. So that's just a little glimpse into the ServiceNow ticketing portal. What's great also is that you have the availability to view all of the tickets that have been entered into all of the campuses. So here's the Chancellor's Office. You can see here's Cal Poly and so forth. So this is another learning opportunity. The great thing about having the visibility into everything is that I can learn off of other tickets that may have been entered in my other campuses and be able to resolve it myself instead of pending, or be able to be a wide known educational opportunity for clients or whoever is their ServiceNow ticketing permissions. Okay, great. So now for the remaining period, what we're going to go over is supplier search and request forms. So initially, when I train for usage on suppliers, the first thing that I have clients do is first search for the supplier before even starting their form, especially if they're new to the system and they may be unsure if the supplier is in the system. You can do that by either using any of the search areas over here or going to your supplier flyout and search for a supplier. When you're searching for your suppliers, what I like to have my defaults as status as all, because I want to see suppliers that are not active for shopping, meaning they have not completed the registration yet or it's not been approved yet. The other thing is the relationship. I like in-network. If you choose all and have in and out of network, it is going to populate all suppliers that also have a Jagger profile or ability into the Jagger portal and may not be specific in nature to your campus. So I say in-network. From here, you can always add filters on any of the searching, whether you're searching for a supplier, a rec, or a PO, and they have multiple ways that you can go ahead and add filters and narrow your search results down. So let's go ahead. I'm going to search for a supplier, block safety, and right here I can see. So it's going to give you kind of a little bit of an outline. The first thing is going to let you know the supplier class, the date modified, what their status is, their solicited type, they're a non-catalog supplier, and so forth. Let's go ahead and view the supplier profile. So this is where I'd want my clients to go ahead and view. And I like them to identify the 3 key indicators to make sure that they are approved, synced, and active for shopping for our campus. So the first one is the registration status. I want to make sure it is approved. There are multiple registration statuses. They go from invited, meaning that they were sent the registration invitation, the email invitation to register with CSUBUY, but have yet to complete it or start on it. In progress means that they started on the registration, however, they have not completed it, or the registration has been returned by the Chancellor's Office due to inconsistencies or things that they need to clear up on their registration. Profile complete, which means that the supplier themselves have completed the registration and it's now at the Chancellor's Office for their 2-step review and approval process. or approved, which means that they're ready for shopping. The next area that I like clients to check, registration status. Make sure they're active for shopping, having a green check mark. If they had a red X, it would mean non-active. And the last one is the MBUs, the business units. It's blue and hyperlinked, so you have the ability to select it. You would want to make sure that your campus has your business units. So our business units are SL, X, and P. This is an approved, active, and synced supplier for Cal Poly, meaning they're ready to be shopped from. Let's go ahead and view other areas for searching for a supplier. I can either search for a supplier just utilizing these carrots right up here and selecting search for a supplier again, or you can do the flyouts or any of the main search bars. Now let's go ahead and view a supplier that may not have all three key indicators. This is just an example. Let me go ahead and pull this out. Oh, that's why. There we go. And so this one right here. So say I need to request an order from Alan B. Let's go ahead and click on him. I can see that he's approved. He's active for shopping, but under the business units, it states Chico. We would want to request to extend this supplier to the Cal Poly campus, and I'll go over that form in just a minute. So what's great about the CSUBUY portal is that we can share suppliers without having them to re-register with each campus. Once they complete the registration for one campus, we can extend them to any campus that requests them. So this would be a supplier that we would submit an extension form. Let's go ahead and look at another supplier case scenario. Here's a supplier, and let's go ahead and look at their key indicators. They're not active for shopping, they don't have business units, and they're invited. However, the supplier is stating they haven't received their invitation to register. You can go to the summary section on the left and see when the registration was sent, which email address it was sent to. Say the email address is incorrect or it needs to be resent, we would complete what's called a supplier re-invitation. So let's navigate back to the shopping homepage and go over the re-invite and extension. So as we scroll down to the supplier showcases, we can see right here, here's the supplier extension or re-invite. From here, you have the ability to go ahead and resend the invitation. So that would be sending it to the last one that we just saw, the Chris. So Chris, we need to update his email address and we can send them a new invitation right through the system. These requests go straight to the chancellor's office who fulfills them. Now for the other example that we saw, Alan B, that was at Chico, what we would want to do is request to extend them to our campus to apply our business units, SLXMP. And so you would just work through the questions, putting in their legal name. I put as an NA for supplier number because when you're resending, you're not going to have a supplier number. And then put in the new invitation email. From there, you'll be able to look at the form approvals and the request steps once submitted, and the chancellor's office will send you emails if it has been approved and completed. The last thing that I wanted to go over is how to request a supplier in the system. Now, there's not a form to request a supplier. It's actually through the flyout, request a new supplier. From here, you'd have to put in the supplier name, and then obviously, it has an instructions page like most of the forms do. It's going to let you know, do not use this form to register the CSU employees or students. It goes over some of the guidelines for you. This right here states that this is going to route first to your campus supplier admin. So that's Michelle and Ashley and Darren on our team. They take a look at it first. They verify that so the supplier is not already in the system, because that can happen, and that they're an appropriate supplier to be in the system. From here, you would enter in such information. Which campus is it going to? Do you really need to use this supplier within the next 2 days? What types of products or services they're going to have? Additional details. and then making sure that they do not have a pre-existing relationship. From here, you want to make sure to enter in anything that has that asterisk by it. If you have their first name, that's great. Entering in the email address, this is where the invitation is going to be routed. And then you could go ahead. These are not required questions to answer, but this is about if they share the same TIN as we saw with the coordinating group earlier. And so that's how you would request a new supplier. First routes to your internal supplier management team. Once approved, then it goes to the chancellor's office, who then routes out the invitation to register. So that was today's overview of system introduction. So we went over navigating the shopping homepage, the default landing page, your starting line for all of your activities. We reviewed the top bar of the search, the active cart, your action items, notifications, and we went over viewing your profile. Remember, viewing in your profile, you're able to see your roles. You're able to set up defaults, such as you can set up your code favorites, like I have my chart filtering set up. You also have the ability to go ahead and see your permissions. And then what's great is your notifications. Always more notifications is best in the beginning, and then you can tailor them to your working style and what works best for you as you learn more about the system. After we reviewed that, we reviewed the rest of the shopping homepage, including the showcases and the punch outs. We reviewed all of the flyouts. We reviewed shopping carts and assigning carts. In the order section, we reviewed how you can reorder seamlessly on anybody's requisition and the full transparency into your full campus's requisitions, vouchers. We then reviewed the ServiceNow ticketing portal, the fulfiller and the client's view, and lastly, we went over suppliers. So I appreciate everyone's attention today and time. We look forward to our next training session. And yeah, so hold on tight. CSUBUY is fun. There's a lot of things that are advantageous for campuses while utilizing it. And we hope that you enjoyed this demonstration. Thank you.